Alright guys, so in the last video we got the aluminum radiator put in the 58 Biscayne. I've been driving that car for a couple weeks now and it is doing great. So that project, we still have some things we want to do to it for sure, but it's a cruiser now. It's drivable. We're going to put AC on it at some point. We're probably going to piddle with certain things here and there. I'm sure there's some things that need tweaked. Fuel gauge still isn't working. Put a new sending unit in. Fuel gauge still don't work. I think I got the wires backwards, I hope. Who knows? But today we're starting on a new project of mine that I've had for years. I've owned this truck for a long time. This is my 66 C10. I converted it to a dually, put the step side fenders on. It's ugly as crap, but it's kind of cool. But this truck, we're doing a twin turbo swap on the 350 that's in it. So let's get this thing inside and let's show you guys where we're at on it so y'all can see where this project's going. So I normally have somebody here to help me get the hood off. Not today. When he's doing the swap, I had to take the inner fenders out. So I lost my hood hinges. So now I gotta figure out how to get the hood off by myself, which is gonna be really fun. Because I'll be honest, I don't think I'm that strong. I don't think my arms are long enough either. Let's see. Shut this jump box off. Because you definitely ain't gonna hurt. Alright, so here's what we've got. Cheapest, crappiest build we could do that may possibly make a little extra power. So these are Garrett Chinese lookalikes. They're like supposed to be like a GT 3582, I think. I don't fully remember the size on those. I will try to, yeah, 3582, but I can't fully remember the size on that. It was a decent size, but I will double check the size and I will post it in the video, maybe somewhere like right in here. But either way, so everything you see here is just cheapest Chinese eBay crap that I could find. Turbos are the cheapest Chinese thing I could find. The headers are, the wastegates are. Now I have read that these wastegates are junk. They're not gonna dump enough boost. This is just a bone stock 350. I'm not aware of anything done to it. It looks rough as crap. The carburetor is a carburetor that I found online. Someone had already milled the choke horn off of it. So choke horn was already milled, but it was missing a bunch of pieces. I had to put a bunch of the float parts in. I had to go through and put the neoprene, or not neoprene, I always say neoprene. The nitrophyll, my bad. Had to go through and put the nitrofill floats in for the boost. I had to make some modifications. I had to JB weld up the Welch plugs, I think they're called. So I did a bunch of different stuff, and I JB welded up all the choke holes here that where the choke linkage would have come through. So now it's modified for blow through. I made some other modifications. Tried to get my jets where I thought they should be. I kind of went a little fat on the jets. You want a boosted motor to run a little fat. You don't want it to lean out. So I went a little fat on the jets straight out the gate, but I got a jet kit. So everything's bolted up and it runs, of course, but as you may wonder, why is this like this? Where's my valve cover? Well, that's because I've got my drain just temporarily. I really wanted to fire it up and drive it outside last time I worked on it about 2 or 3 months ago. So I just kind of halfway made my return and I dumped it into the valve cover here. Same thing over here. I've got the drain ran into the fill hole. I do plan on dumping these turbos into the valve cover, but for that I have some threaded AN bungs that I'm going to weld into the hood. Keeps making noise. If it's going to fall, it might as well just go ahead and fall, because I'm sick of listening to it. It's going to fall eventually. It has to, because it keeps making noise. Y'all hear it? Okay, it'll probably sit there. So, but I've got the threaded bungs I'm going to weld into the valve covers. And then I got to route all my plumbing. I'm going to run it non-intercooled. The single port master cylinder, I'm not a fan of single port master cylinders, but I don't really have a choice based on where I'm at. I think the heat's going to get into my master cylinder and it's going to cause problems. I mean, I have no clearance on this exhaust over here. I bought these T3 rotational flanges so that I could clock the turbos wherever I wanted them. It was a nice idea because now I can dump it like this, but that one over there, it didn't do any good going that route. It didn't help any. I know it looks like, oh, if you just twist it, would actually, when I twist it the way the turbo is, it actually twists around. It actually puts the exhaust closer to the firewall. So I thought I had it figured out when I found those rotational flanges. I was like, heck yeah, man, I can rotate them things, point them 45 at the corners of the fenders, be good to go. No, I was wrong. So here we are. It has a T5 S10 transmission, so we're for sure going to grenade that transmission, no doubt in my mind. And the motor's probably going to grenade too. I mean, I'm shooting to run 14 pounds of boost through it, and I mean, from what I understand, that's just astronomical amount. So we'll see how it goes. I guess I really need to work on getting my drains put into my valve covers. So I guess that's what I'm going to work on now. Aren't these fittings just hideous? Blue and red. Yuck. But it was cheap, and it came with the turbos. So that's what we're using. And we are just eyeballing this. I don't need this to be of any kind of specialty here. I do need to stay still when I pick a spot, though. Oh yeah, center punch work a lot better. I know. Come on. What the hell's going on here? Let's see what we got. Not yet. Oh boy. Easy. I mean, looky there. See? Got this little ridge right here. See that? I just slip her right in. Oh, I like it. Whew. Man, that's pretty. Now we'll clean this up with a buffer and tack weld her in. Now, plan on reusing this cork valve cover gasket. Probably gonna leak like a sea of. Oh yeah. Let's see. Got a little burrage in here. That is beautiful. So, what's going to happen is, I'm going to end up needing to convert this thing to a dual port master cylinder one day. And this turbo is going to be in the friggin' way. And then I'm going to have to move it, and I'm going to have to rework my drains on the driver's side. I don't know. Thought about trying to get one of them like they use on the cab overs, like the old Coes. They push, the brake rod comes out and the master cylinder is mounted this way. But if I could do it over, I would spend the extra like $100 on the manifolds, and I would mount the turbos towards the front. They have the headers that come out the front with a V-band on them, and then you buy the V-band for the T3, T4 flange, whatever you're running, and then you can clock it however you want. Whew. If I could go back, that's what I'd do. But oh well, this is what I got. That's what I'm going to do for now. So let's get her tacked in place. Now, I'm no AN hose expert, but usually what I like to do is I'll wrap black tape around where I'm going to cut it, and then I'll take an angle grinder with cutoff wheel and I'll cut straight through it. That keeps the ends from flaring up. These ends are flared up. I don't know if you can tell in the video. This was sent open like this, all flared up. So I had to put some tape on it, try and calm it down, but it ain't the greatest. But in a perfect world, you would just slip that right up in your fitting. That'd work good. But on this side, where it's a little chewed up, we're gonna have to do something like that. So once you do that, I usually take a little grease. Let's see here. A little assembly lube works pretty good. They probably say you're not supposed to do this because this probably causes the hose to slip apart, but don't listen to me, I'm no expert. There we go. And then slip her in there and crank her on. In a perfect world, you would have the non-marring AN wrenches, so you don't scratch your pretty red and blue fittings up. But I don't have that, so we're just gonna scratch them up. I love the way AN hose looks. I just absolutely hate this red and blue. Gosh. Hey, America, I know, but there you go. 2 scratched up AN fittings. What more could a man ask for? I'll put it straight on. Someone is going to tell me I'm doing this wrong, I'm sure. That's okay, I like learning, so if I'm doing it wrong, let's hear what you got to say. Man, I'll tell you what, I just don't want to go. Just does not want to go. Oh boy. Slipped the tape off that time. Oh, okay. So maybe the tape was the problem all along. My bad. Maybe I'm giving y'all some bad advice. Man, that went together a lot better without the tape on the end. Might try it without the tape next time. Let's see. But does it fit? Oh, I think I made it too long. Frig. Look at that. Too long. Crud. Ooh, I know why too. Because I measured from the end of each fitting. Huh. That is incorrect. Okay, let's try again. Oh yeah, that fits great. Quite honestly perfect. I bet these bad boys are gonna leak. That's okay, because if they don't leak, I saved myself $3 on gaskets. It's all just jokes. Looks fantastic. Looks decent. Feel like orange, chrome, red, and blue. Maybe we'll just leave this one like this. Just kidding. That one's done. We'll do that one next. We're gonna do the passenger side oil drain today. Get the valve cover off and get this thing built here. So apparently my kit only comes with 45s. And I just happen to have a 90, but it's black, so it don't match. I don't care if it matches or not. And we're not gonna spend any money on a 90 because I have one here even though it's the wrong color. Who cares? I don't even like the blue and red anyways. Now something I can tell you about turbo drains is you want them to always have a downhill slope to them. If you know it's like this, the oil will not travel uphill and that will cause it to push the oil out of your seals. So you always want it to have a downhill slope. And so when we put it on this way, when we put it like this, we're going to want to make sure that we've got a little bit of an angle up and not just straight like this. We want to make sure it's like this so that we'll have a little bit of an angle to drain in. Beautiful. Nice. On this thin stuff you can kind of stitch weld it together and it works pretty good. I'm not a fan of the guys on the Facebook little quick ad things that you see where they stitch weld a 1/4 inch thick piece of steel together. Ain't no sense in that. Should be okay. Oh, there we go. Got this drain built. So over here's built, so you're good to go. So next on the agenda, man, I have a lot to do. So I have everything here. I think I have all the parts I need for this, but so I got to get rid of the manual fuel pump. It's still running a manual fuel pump just to move it in and out of the shop. But I have to mount an electric fuel pump. It's got to have an external fuel pressure regulator mounted. I got to run a return back to my tank. I got to get my plumbing for my turbo made, and then I got to route all my gauges. So I've got AFR gauges for both sides. I have a boost gauge that I got to get put in. I have a tack that I got to get put in. When I'm building my plumbing for my turbo into my top of my carburetor, I've got to get my wastegate, or not my wastegate, I'm sorry, my blow-off valve made. I've got to weld it in. I got a lot to do. So, but we're getting there. So I'm just working on my plumbing here. If I was running a single turbo, boy, this would be quick and easy, because I mean, piece of straight pipe right there and I'd be in business. Dang. I guess I could have my blow off on the piece across here, maybe. Oh, I just realized now I'm in the way of my air filter here. Oh, boy. Not great, but not bad. So what I'm trying to accomplish is, I could just run my boost straight in like this, but then it's trying to force the boost that way. I don't want to do that. I need to get a 90 in here, partially. I need it to at least be mostly, by the time it makes this turn, I need it to be mostly flowing that way. Because if I just put my pipe straight into here, it's going to push the boost that way. The turbos are going to fight against each other. Alright, so I put that in the bandsaw and I chopped it like that, and then I just took the grinder, since it was aluminum, I just took the grinder and made a saddle notch in it. Show you kind of what I'm shooting for here. Something like that. It's decent, I guess. It's not ideal by any means, but should work. We got Hunter back here in the back putting tires on. Excuse his foul mouth if you hear him cussing. Put this piece up here, mark it with a Sharpie, and then cut it out somehow. Okay, so there we go. We'll go cut this out. I ain't real sure how. We'll try to figure it out though. Well, it ain't the prettiest, but I think it'll work just fabulous. It's pretty close. Alright, so my Y pipe's built. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. My welds are pretty ugly. You can't probably see it too well, but that's the first time I've ever welded some aluminum pipe, and it was kind of tough, but I just stitch welded it in, did okay, but this should work great. This pipe was coming up short, so I'm going to cut this pipe down to scoot everything over. That was Casey's idea this morning. He came in and I was like, I got to lengthen this pipe, and he was like, well, why don't you just shorten this one? I was like, that's a good idea. It's pretty successful there. That worked out pretty good. There is no complaints from me, and this hose still fits. Put some loom around this, keep it from rubbing through. But anyways, this looks good. I'm gonna run it the way it is, see what happens. So now I think I'm gonna go ahead and start building the exhaust on my driver's side turbo. That passenger side one's gonna be a real doozy, so I'm gonna do the easy one first. You always do the hard one first, but I'm gonna do the easy one first. All right, so I got this 45 tack welded in place. Got my flange bolted on the turbo, got this 45 tack welded on, and should work pretty well. So I think that's pretty good for one evening's worth of work. So different day, I'm gonna start working on building the rest of this driver side exhaust, and then I'm gonna start trying to figure out what to do with that passenger side exhaust. That's gonna be fun, but be a different day.